What are the top three habits that I've developed over the last 5 or 6 years that have allowed me to gain success, make more money, and live a happier life? We're going to talk about those today. I am glad that you are here. This is the 10 at 10, 10 minutes every day at 10 a.m. Mountain Time because I'm in Mountain Time. If I move, we'll change the time. I am glad that you are here. The idea is to get you a little bit more pumped up for your day, give you a little bit more bounce in your step, and help you be a little more happy. I have not had enough coffee yet today. It has been a busy morning, but I want to share with you habits, right? So more than 80%, like they've done all these studies. When you're young, you're super curious and you go out and you learn things all the time. As we grow up, our brain naturally looks for patterns, builds those patterns in, they become habits because that allows us to use less processing power in our brain, right? It allows us to go on autopilot. This is what we do at work all the time. This is what we do in the morning. This is what we do around the house. The thing is that a lot of people, it's very easy to form bad habits because you're not thinking about them. You're not actively saying, okay, what is my habit? How do I look at it? And how do I move forward, right? Instead, we're just say, well, this is how I've done it. So this is how I will always do it. This is what leads to people being overweight. This is what leads to people having problems with time management. This is what leads to so many of the problems because we don't take the time to form good habits. Instead, we just take whatever habit we have formed and we live by that. And as that stacks up over time, right? If a boat is sailing across the ocean and it starts to get a little bit off path and a little bit off path and it starts wandering, it ends up at a completely different location that it didn't want to go to. So how do you form great habits, right? Well, the first thing is look at what you're doing, right? I don't know. I'm trying to think of some really easy ones that I can give you guys. One for me is do the dishes, right? You don't want a sink full of dirty dishes. Take 2 seconds to wash the dish when you're done or rinse it out and put it in the dishwasher. That's just like a really, really simple one. One that I started doing. So this is a pro tip. I put my goals in the shower and I read them every morning. The reason that they're there, there's twofold. One, I was looking for a way that I could condense time a little bit and go over my goals every single day. So they're there. I also write them down, but that's something we'll get to a little later. But when you're in the shower, your brain is actually in a different state than when you are sitting at your computer or when you're walking around your house, anything like that. It is actually in, I believe it's called an alpha state because of the water running over you. If you're really relaxed, you notice that you have a lot of ideas when you're in the shower usually. I also have a whiteboard in my shower, but that's another story. When your brain is in that state, it is actually suggestive to ideas. So I have my goals written down, just one sentence each, not the long version, but then I also have rules of engagement, which are things that I want to see happen in my life and how I treat certain situations, right? They're overarching rules. And the reason that they're there and I read them in the shower is because it subconsciously implants them in my head. So how, like, that's a habit, right? Every day I get in the shower and because I've built that habit over time, I automatically do it. I can do it when I'm half asleep. I can do it when I'm wide awake. It just happens automatically. I also make my bed every morning, right? So making your bed every morning, at first it's a pain in the ass, right? It's not something that you want to do. You fight it. But then after you've done it for 30, 60, 90 days, you do it without thinking about it. So one of the top habits that I've ingrained, we'll go through the top 3 habits. The first one is, it's called Win the Day. I know that this was in a book that I read. I don't remember the book. I've heard several people quote it, but the first hour that you are awake is your time. Do not become reactive to things. Instead, set up your day. If you win the first hour of the day, it sets you on a much different trajectory. You will feel better mentally because you've done something productive. You've done the thing that you've set out to do. You'll feel much better about yourself. It leads to higher self-esteem, higher self-confidence. So when I get up in the morning, I make my bed, I do my workout routine. My workout routine is 15 minutes every morning. It's quick, it's easy. I drink 32 ounces of water, a huge water bottle, right? So by the time that 15 to 20 minutes of getting up is over, I've made my bed, I have gone over my goals, and I've worked out and drank 32 ounces of water. That's a real simple routine that anyone can do. part of this is, we've talked about this before, put your phone in the other room. Don't sleep with your phone near your bed. So many people, what do? You roll over, grab your phone, and right away you are in a reactive state. Your brain is waking up. It is looking for positive, it's looking for something to take in, or looking for direction, right? That's maybe a better word. It's looking for direction. You can give it direction by getting up and doing something purposeful, or you can grab your phone and become responsive to all the text messages, stuff on Facebook, stuff on Instagram, all the stuff that comes into your world. Push that off. Nothing is going to change for, like, looking at your phone in the morning. There's nothing you're going to miss that would make your life better. Put it in the other room. Don't look at it till you've been up for an hour. So after I work out, I jump in the shower real quick. I go over the goals in the shower. I go over my rules of engagement, right? I stretch in the shower. I do a little bit of yoga. Shower takes 15 minutes. I'm out here, I'm sitting down, and the next thing is that I journal. So journal, I go over my goals, I go over my targets for the month and the week, and then I have just an open journal exercise for the rest of the page. I use a legal pad. Top half is goals, bottom half is journal. That takes me through the first hour of my day. Now I'm set. I know where I'm going. I know what I need to do. I also go through my to-do list, and I make sure my top 3 things are at the top. That's probably, like, if there's one thing that I can point to that has changed my life more than anything else, it's that. Doing that every morning, not allowing myself to be disturbed by my phone or anything else. I started journaling 7 years ago. Yesterday, actually, there was a picture that came up from 5 years ago when I had gone through a bunch of journals and stuff. That's posted on my page somewhere. But 7 years ago, I started journaling. 5 years ago, I started putting my phone in the other room, and it completely changed. Habit number 2 is responding instead of reacting. So this takes the phone thing a little bit further. Anytime we become reactive, right, it's very easy to react to something. Something negative happens and you have an emotional response. This is a habit. So when this happens, you just need to look at it after it happens and say, well, how could I respond? How can I respond to that differently? What would be a better response? And you actually think and plan out, okay, when something negative happens, instead of having an emotional response, because that is a learned response. Neurotransmitters are firing, your body's going, and it immediately triggers you into something. So how can I break that? What can I do instead? And actually being thoughtful about how to do that. That took a long time. I think a lot of it came from probably working in restaurants, because it was really easy when you're running around the restaurant. You got 15 different things going on, fires everywhere. Sometimes there's stuff in the kitchen. Sometimes there's stuff on the floor. If you respond instead of react, if you react, you're going to lose your mind and you're going to be an emotional roller coaster and you're not going to get anything done. You have to instead have planned responses for things and logical responses. You have to take the emotion out of it. Training myself to do that over the years, hugely beneficial. And the third habit is exercise. Every day, self-care is very, very important. So I work out in the morning, I go for a walk every day, or I go for a run at night. I do one of the two. Building that in, especially if you're high D, if you're familiar with the DISC tests, high Ds process through physical motion. So self-care, putting that in is very, very helpful. We could also talk about reading. I read for 30 minutes a day, and that alone has paid huge dividends. Pick books that you don't necessarily agree with as well, because it will force you to learn something, right? You can pick any self-help book, you can pick any business book, but don't always strive to pick up a book that you know you're going to agree with, because all that's going to do is reinforce the beliefs you already have. If you want to really have critical thinking skills, you need to sometimes read books, listen to things that you don't agree with, so that you can have intelligent discussions around them. All right, guys, that is what I have got for you today. If you know you need to grow your business, I'm going to throw this up really quick. You can grab my free course on webinars. It is 5 videos, 5 worksheets that will take you through how to get your webinar started. One-to-many sales is the fastest way to grow your business. If you are doing sales in a one-on-one manner, or if you're driving through a sales funnel and spending a bunch of money on ads, there are better ways to do it. One-to-many sales will definitely help you. You can get started with Death to Bad webinars. Till tomorrow, guys, take action, change lives, and make money. I will see you soon.